Hey everybody, it's Crystal here from Fat Product Review. Welcome. We're going to talk today with Adrienne Rey from Curve Conscious in Philly.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you so much. Before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that today is uh, November 4th, so that means it's the day after the debacle between Biden and I'll just call him our president. So yeah, I'm a little ragey today, but I'm gonna try to be less ragey. And I'm really tickled and excited to talk with you, Adrienne, and learn all about your store, your resale store, designed specifically for women of size. And I love that. So welcome and tell everybody about you and how to find you.
Hey, Crystal, how are you? Crystal's on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. So her day just kind of getting underway, right? So I've been
Yep.
kind of up since 7 a.m. over here and only got a few hours of sleep because of all the
Yeah.
craziness going on. But
Me too. Yeah.
so my name is Adrienne and I am the owner of Curve Conscious, located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We are on Instagram as Curve Conscious, just the shop name, as well as Facebook. You can just do a search for Curve Conscious in Facebook. And our website is curveconsciousphilly.com. We are a resale store that is exclusive for plus size folks. So we start at size 12, which is usually a large. And go up to size 28, sometimes 30, depending on if I can get it in.
Yeah.
So, like you said, we celebrate all shape sizes. And I have been open. I have a brick and mortar store in Philadelphia, been open for almost 4.5 years now. We opened in June 2016. So it's been a bit of a ride to this point so far. COVID, of course, like so many other small businesses and even major corporations, has hit us very hard. We were well on our way to having our most successful year ever, and experiencing growth year over
Growth.
year. And then all of that came to a crashing halt
Yeah.
since about April. So we were shut down for a few months in Philadelphia. We reopened in June on a modified schedule. So I was open about 5 days a week. Now I'm open 3 days a week. I cut the hours back a little bit for safety reasons. For me, staff and customers, just really concerned about making sure that people were safe. Of course,
Mhm.
the mask requirement. I have not had an issue with people fighting me on that at all, hand sanitizing and all of that. So it's been a decent experience, like being open. And it's
Mhm.
great to see people's faces after, having been closed for 3 months. However, it's still, very much affecting the business. Foot
Mhm.
traffic is still very slow.
Yeah.
So I do rely a lot on, selling things through my social media channels, again, Instagram and Facebook. I have always, for the past few years, I've been doing Facebook live sales, but we kind of ramped it up a little bit in 2020, even before COVID. So that's been going great. And IG stories, of course, is where it's at. It's where I get to be creative and post
Mhm.
outfits and pieces that we have available in the store by size. And so that's usually a fun. Well, it gets people always talk about it all the time. Like I post stuff and then immediately it's like sold, 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 sold.
Yeah.
So it's usually pretty. I don't know, like
That's
fast.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Our market of clothing for people of size is so limited.
Yeah.
I think people just must be so excited when they see something that you have that's not doesn't look like an old lady, doesn't look like my grandma, it doesn't look like a drapery that goes on your wall. And then yeah, they're just like sold.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
we're thirsty out here because there's so little for us.
I'm
And
telling you. And it's, and I sometimes I go on these rants when I do my Facebook live sales about how in recent times, like how many plus size stores have closed down, even pre-COVID again. And now with COVID, stores like Eloquii have closed all of their retail stores, and they didn't have that many. I think they had just 6 in some major markets, including Philadelphia. But it was an experience. It's always an experience to be able to go into a retail shop, shop all the racks and find items that are your size and have changing rooms and things like that. So now that we've gotten rid of Catherine's and Avenue, and I know a few Lane Bryant's here and there, like their flagship in New York. It's just sad, and it's unfortunate.
We have a Lane Bryant, we have Torrid here, but we're like San Jose has about 2 million people, I believe, and then the entire Bay Area has about 9 million. But yeah, like the mall where I shop, typically when I shop, there's 2 stores for me, and then there's like 180 stores for everybody else.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
But I think we're just down to Lane Bryant and Torrid at that mall, and all the rest of them are gone. But yeah, how did you come up with the name Curve Conscious?
So I have a marketing background, advertising background, and I was, still working in my career field at the time before I opened the shop. And so I was also a copywriter. And so I think that I just used some of those like skills that I had to develop the name. I didn't want it to be, because it's a resale store, which is also known as secondhand or consignment sometimes. I didn't want it to convey that necessarily, like in the name, and this is like, no offense to any store, any type of resale store, but a lot of stores use their title of their name to convey that it's resale. So, second time around, or you know what I mean, second life or something like that.
Right.
So I didn't want to do that because that was already kind of flooded in the market. But I wanted the message to still obviously be something that was for plus size folks, and something that conveyed at least sustainability. And so, I probably took a few days with the help of one of my friends that I worked with at the time, and I love alliteration as well. As a writer and a copywriter, especially, who, writes short copy, that was like my thing for like a decade. Alliteration is like my favorite thing. So it had to have that, the same sound and all of that.
Roll off the tongue.
Yeah. So yeah, it just kind of came to me. I had, I was writing notes and things like that, putting matching words together. And then when that one clicked, it clicked immediately. My friend agreed right away. We both were like, that's it.
Yeah, I like the word conscious too, because we have to be more conscious now about how things are made and how things are, which things are sustainable. About the fashion industry, we know is shit. And, there's so much waste and so much abuse. And I like that it has that word in there because it has a different kind of tone to it. It's like we also are very, cognizant of the fact that we need to start recycling and reusing and what's the word, upcycle. Upcycle. Yeah. I like that. It's nice to have that feeling like maybe, you're not just buying another, piece of fast fashion from Torrid and, another black t-shirt from Torrid. I'd rather buy something from a store like yours where we know something's getting a second or third life, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. And, I will say that it was a bit of a challenge when I got started, because Philadelphia, which is a pretty large, market, like this, like the region is, probably 2 million people within like this, the city area. But there had never been a secondhand store for plus sizes in Philadelphia.
We still don't have one here.
Yeah. So, it was kind of a shock to me. And as someone who is a small fat, who like to shop in thrift stores and resale stores, I still struggled to find items that were my size. And, I'm bigger than I was then, but, I'm talking about 14, 16, now I'm like 16, 18, but 14, 16, which again is totally small fat, like acknowledge that right off the, off the bat.
Right, yeah.
But it would still even be a struggle to find those sizes in a lot of these stores. So
fatties don't get to thrift. We don't get to thrift too often.
Yeah.
It doesn't really happen in our world.
Only if you have like a ton of time, if you're someone who's got a life and busy life and things to do, and
Right.
not necessarily consider yourself like a thrifter, like someone who
Mhm.
does it like all the time.
Yeah.
It's definitely overwhelming. It's definitely disappointing.
Discouraging.
Yeah, discouraging for sure. And
Yeah.
I experienced that for a very long time. And that's sort of, when I decided that I did want to start a small business. And a lot of people ask me like, "Oh, is this like your dream?" And no, it wasn't. It definitely was not. Like I was doing fine. And then, after leaving sort of, I worked for, I guess, a corporation in-house. And then I left and went private. And then I was there for a few years. And then I went back to that business. When I went back to the corporate world, it had changed over time, while I was away. And, I was just like, what am I doing? Like, why am I here? Um, just really feeling, like my voice wasn't heard. And, experiencing a lot of microaggressions around, either racism or sexism, that had become, because they can be very mild and
Mhm.
undetectable, almost undetectable if you ever have worked in corporate. But when I was in the private, it was very in your face. It was very in your face. So when I
Yeah.
went back, it was kind of like, whoa, I recognize this. you know?
Yes. I think you didn't mention one ism, you didn't mention sizeism, but in the corporate world,
Oh yeah.
sizeism
Oh,
very yeah.
for
Good luck
sure.
getting you didn't get an interview if they detect that you might be over a size 14, it's so unfair.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, and I like when people tell me, "No, that's not what they meant at all." I'm like, trust me, I know. I know
Mhm.
microaggression when I see one. I'm fat, okay?
Yeah.
Don't tell me that I no, they're no. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." If
Yeah.
you're fat
Exactly.
or black or queer, you tend to know when this shit happens to you, and you don't tell me it didn't happen to me.
Exactly.
We know, we know.
So that's
Um,
kind of what I guess propelled me to want to get into starting my own small business in
yeah, me
the
too.
entrepreneurial world. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna have to go interview with anybody else, like, fuck that, I'm doing my own thing over here.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah, yeah, I'm over that. But I worked in corporate for, like, 15 well, more than 15 years, so I worked in tech here in the Silicon Valley, and, ooh, it's not easy as a fat person. And honestly, in the 15 years I worked in tech, I worked with 2 Black people, okay?
Wow. That's actually
Population
not surprising in Silicon Valley.
population 2,000,000, I worked with 2
Yeah.
Black people. A lot of Asian people, of course, but not no Black people, very no Hispanic people. But, yeah, it's not good here as far as that kind of stuff goes, as far as diversity. They're trying, but it's like, breadcrumbs. Um, so how do you run the business yourself? Do you run the business with your
I
wife? Do you guys
do.
it together? Okay, bye. So you're on and what is your does your wife have another job?
She does. My wife is
Mhm.
a scientist full time.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Mhm.
but I'll tell you, when I first met her, I actually met her at my shop, which is
Oh,
really
yeah?
interesting,
Yeah.
because she's not plus.
Mhm.
Um, but she just happened to be coming into the store with a friend who is plus size. And
Mhm.
so I met her actually 3 months after I opened my store. My wife, her name is Kiana. She has an extensive career in retail before becoming a scientist, which is,
Mhm.
funny. But
Yeah.
so yeah, so me having just like opened up, we really started up a friendship first. And literally, she would just come by, like help me out, give me ideas. She was a store manager for, over a decade. So she has and still has tons of knowledge
That
that
must be cool.
I know that she like poured into me, that truly helped me get through, that first year especially. But she's
Mhm.
still, we kid around and joke around and call her the store manager because, when she gets in there, she likes to help out. We stopped by there earlier today. I was actually donating a bunch of items to an organization. We could talk about that a little later, but
Sure.
um, so she just comes in, helps out. She helps on all the live sales.
Oh,
So it's
cool.
always her and I that do the live sales together. So I definitely could not do it without her support. And even just like, helping out here and there, but also like emotional support.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure
Definitely.
like having your own business, is taxing emotionally.
Mhm.
emotionally,
Mhm.
physically. So just
Mhm.
having a supportive partner who believes in, my shop mission, and, interacts with my customers and just has a fun, loving spirit, has been wonderful. Honestly, I don't think I would have made it this far without her help and support.
What's your next like goal with your boutique? Do you want to have a second store? Do you want to sell a license, or what are you thinking? I mean, I know this year kind of screwed everything up,
Yeah.
but it seems like you're going to survive this year, and you're going to have definitely going to have another year in you, right? So, like, do you have anything else that you might want to do with this brand?
So I think that right now my goal is to just expand. So I don't know in terms of opening another shop, possibly moving into a larger space where I can offer even more than what I
Mhm.
currently do. So right now, it's mainly focused on clothing for, let's just say, women, femme. And I would love to add in either men's styles, androgynous, even things like scrubs. I know a lot of my
Mhm.
customers are nurses or work in that field, right? Um,
Mhm.
so and even adding vintage as well. I do not currently do vintage. I do just contemporary styles, which is like current,
Mhm.
things that are
Right.
current. So yeah, so just having a place that's even bigger, double, triple the size that I have now, just to add even more stuff, more offerings, so that it can even be more of a one-stop shop kind of place. Because of course, my customers, their styles vary wildly, and so occasionally they're able to scoop up something from my store, and then they're shopping of course with other stores, but
Yeah.
if they're able to come into Curve Conscious and just get a little bit here, a little bit there, that would be beautiful. But the idea of having more than one location kind of freaks me out a little bit. um,
Daunting.
yeah, it is daunting. So just even having the one
I understand.
is,
How
yeah.
how do you get most of your fashion that you're reselling?
Oh, from people that bring it in. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's
So
also
everybody's
the
local?
yep. So local folks, and then also, I have customers that follow me online that are actually national, international
Mhm.
customers from all over the place, and I've gotten folks that. Matter of fact, I just got a message. I think it was last night or this morning of someone saying, "Hey, I don't want anything. I just want to send you some stuff. I love what you're
Oh,
doing. I love your shop.
that's
And
cool.
I just want to support you. Can I send you some clothes?" And I'm like, awesome. That would be such a great gift. I have people that will ship that have shipped stuff from Georgia, from California, and they stuff some things in a box, and I can So at my shop, I offer cash or store credit for items that people bring in or send in. In terms of the folks that send stuff in, they're usually looking for cash, which is totally fine,
Oh,
even
yeah.
though you can spend store credit online. But they are looking for cash, and I can send that electronically.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, it's been actually really wonderful. So yeah, but
That's
most
cool.
things are coming in from other people's closets.
B that owns Fat Fancy in Portland, she was saying people will just stuff all kinds of stuff into a box and either send it to her for consignment or just send it to her to just
Yeah,
give her for her to resell, which is really cool. She's
yeah.
like, whatever they can cram into the box, they'll send it to me. Um, I want to hear more about our queen, the queen.
Oh, Queen Latifah.
Um, yeah, so I mean, it's the only queen we have here in the States, right? So I heard that her people found something they were interested. Do you think that they found you because of Instagram?
So this story was really interesting. Someone came in last week. We're having a super rainy. I don't know if there was like a hurricane or something that was blowing through down south, but it was rainy
Mm-hmm.
for a few days. And so, typically on those days it's super slow with folks coming into the store. And I just thought it was going to be a chill day. I may have had one or two customers by the time that this person came in. So this young lady comes in, and actually, and I should say that the day before or that week, this was the week the shooting of the young man in Philadelphia. So that was on a Monday afternoon, and I'm closed on that day. But as I'm sure you've heard, there were lots of protests and some looting and rioting and things that were happening in Philadelphia that week. And so as a precaution, I came in Thursday. And by that time it had kind of, dampered out, especially in the rain and all that. But I was keeping my door locked because, I just was doing it as a precaution. So I'm here, but it's raining. People might not come in. I'm just going to keep the door locked. So I had the door locked. I see someone come to the door and try to open the door. By the time I moved to go to the door, she was scurrying back in the rain to her car. I thought, oh no, she's going to get in the car. She doesn't think I'm open. So I get to the window, the window on my door, and I'm like knocking like this. And as she's like about to open her car, she sees me, and I was like, come on in, come on in. So she comes in. And she was just like, I was just like, how are you doing? Da, 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 the small talk, I usually do. And then there was also someone else in there. So I was taking care of another customer, ringing them up. And this young lady, I noticed that she was looking at the coats and stuff that I had hanging up. So, of course, great customer service that I did. I just said, oh, are you looking for a coat? What size are you looking for? And she was just like, I'm looking for a coat for Queen Latifah. And I was like, excuse me?
Okay. Everybody get out. Everybody out.
Right, exactly. And I said, she said, we're filming down the street. And so Queen Latifah is currently filming a movie called Hustle with Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
And you've seen some of the pictures and stuff online.
Yeah.
So they're filming in the suburbs of Philadelphia mainly. But for this day, for whatever reason, they have been filming there's a school called Girard College that's just blocks away from Curve Conscious. And so she was like, we're filming. And she was like, she needs something to wear because it's raining and it's cold. And she's got to, get through, from set to trailer and around the set and everything. She was like, she needs something to wear. So then I'm like, well, shit, I hope I have something the queen wear. I'm just like, okay. So I was like, well, I'm like, what size are you looking for? And she was like, oh, like a 2X. And so I'm like, oh my God, like, I had sold out of so many coats the week before. So I just had like slim pickings, and she was looking at a few options and I couldn't recall like all the sizes that I had available. And I was just like, please, I'm just like, please have something for the queen, And so and I was like, oh, well, what about, this jacket? And she was like, oh, well, it's a 3X. And, she was like, it might be too big, da, da, da. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, calm down. There's got to be something. And then she just picked up this black jacket that was hooded. It was perfect for rain, hooded and belted. And it was a 2X. And she was like, this is going to work. And she like put it on the desk. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then she went shopping for herself. So turns out after some small talk that she was the nurse on set.
Oh.
And because of all of the commotion that had been going on in Philly during the week, a lot of the, maybe the PAs and stuff just weren't comfortable kind of going out into the city trying to find something for her. And they weren't familiar with the city. And so this young lady from Philly who follows Curve Conscious knew that Curve Conscious was down the street. So she was like, you know what? I'll go. And that was the first stop she made, was just to come to my store. Nice. And she knew that she could find something plus size there, and then she did a little bit of shopping for herself. And, because she's a nurse, she was wearing like clogs and it's pouring rain. And I just happen to have rain boots in her size. So she bought a pair of rain boots for herself so she could get around on set. And she was just telling me, how exhausting it is. Like, the shoot schedule had been like really crazy. And, her job, of course, is to do temperature checks, COVID testing every day. And so she was, she just herself was saying that she was tired. I said, I could tell. She was like, I've been up since 3 a.m. But I was like, but you're doing this amazing thing for the queen.
Oh, that is so
So it
good
was
for
such a
you.
little fun, and I gave her a few cards and I was like, let everyone know where you were able to find it. And she was like, I
Yeah.
will.
Send
So
me a
that was,
picture for my Instagram.
yeah, seriously. So that was, yeah, so
Good job, Adrienne.
that
Way
was
to
a
be.
fun experience. And really it was like one of those things that I kind of held on to it, and then ended up posting about it the next day. Because I just kind of wanted to have this, like, I told my wife about it when I got home and stuff, but it was like one of those things about being a small business owner that you get excited about. And, just being able to just be there in
Yeah.
this time of need for someone, was amazing. Um,
Yeah. It's
and
so
even
rare
but
yeah, I mean, the Queen A, but I mean, it's so rare for a person of size to find something that specific exactly at that same time, that moment, that day when they need it. Like, that's really rare. Like,
yeah, and
unless you want to
especially
get
at
like
a
a
retail store.
vital poncho from the hardware store or something, there's this doesn't happen. So it's so cool that you were there and that she knew about you. Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's great. So yeah, but you guys are in an important state today. I just got a little blurb that's just said Michigan was won by Biden. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah,
We're
I
gonna
know.
lock it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pennsylvania has been, it's been a little stressful, but I think that I'm now am understanding the numbers a little bit better. Like now I'm ready to play this game.
yeah,
Last night it was just kind of like, of course we wanted it to be just this huge obvious blowout, this win that was, that cannot be
denied.
yeah,
Can't deny. Yeah, what a loser he is.
cannot
Yeah,
deny.
right.
And then, we kind of wake up, and I just learned that that Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania were not allowed to count their mail-in ballots until after the polls closed. I was not aware that. I actually voted in person yesterday morning. And I probably won't do that again. I probably will do mail-in ballot next time as long as it's available. But yeah, so I was unaware that these three states specifically could not do that. And so
Yeah.
last night I was kind of very confused about that, and just like what is
Mm-hmm.
going on. And then, kind of waking up and realizing, okay, all those in-person votes have been counted. There's no denying that. And now they're just getting to work and all those mail-in ballots. And once it made sense that mail-in ballots mostly go Democrat,
Democrat. Yeah,
then it was kind of like, I can chill. I could take like a breath
right.
because, he
Yeah.
was already leading in some key states.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's like, and I know you're from Nevada originally, right?
Yeah,
That
originally,
gotta
yeah.
kind of feel good, too.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
was just there for my honeymoon in September.
Yeah.
And so I feel kind of like, yay, I just visited somewhere that, that respects me. Like at least the
At least
majority.
at least 51%.
Yeah, at
Um,
least the majority.
so we need to cover a really important topic, which are cheesecakes. Your
Yeah.
your Facebook post, I'm just like, or I'm like, isn't there like one that's like a crumble or like a strudel or something that's like
Yeah. So,
killing me?
so my wife and I kind of started our little COVID, pandemic side hustle,
Your
like
pivot.
so many other.
Your wife, the scientist, is also a baker.
Yes. She is also a baker, and this started back in the spring. Really it was just because we were home, my shop was closed, we were home together every single day, which was great.
Yeah.
But she was like, "Hey, do you want me to bake you something?" She loves to cook and bake. And I'm like, "Sure." She was like, "Okay, do you want a cheesecake or do you want a peach cobbler?" And I was like,
Oh,
"I want both." Like, what do you mean? So
I like you.
yes, made a peach cobbler cheese
Hello.
that was out of this world. And so
Imagine.
it did not start out as, this mission to have like a little side hustle business. But certainly that's what it became after we shared it. So this
Mhm.
thing is pretty big. And, after a slice or two, it was like, okay, let's get rid of it, share it with some neighbors and family and stuff. So, mask on, folks were coming over, getting a slice to go. And the feedback that we're getting, and one of my friends, actually, who became our first customer, she was like, "Oh no, we need to order a whole cake." And that's what started it. So yeah, from like Mother's Day, we had great sales around that time. It kind of slowed down a little bit in the summertime, and we really picked it back up like August, September. And so it's just been going great. Great. If you look up like hashtag cakes by Kiana on any social media or Instagram or Facebook, you'll be able to see posts that we've got out there. But we tried to do the shipping thing because we definitely got a lot of requests about shipping out cakes. And it didn't meet the sort of quality standards that we would like because it is cheesecake. And we're still small time, so we trying to ship something frozen overnight is very costly.
Very expensive, yeah.
Yeah, so we're still just doing it kind of local too, but it's been great because I've got a business and I've got a lot of followers over there on Curb Conscious on Facebook and Instagram, and so I've been putting it out there. So we've gotten customers from some of my customers from the shop have bought cakes, and we had
So
a couple of events because we were just selling the whole cakes, and then I had an event at the store where we were selling slices. We sold out of there, and that was really cool because it was like sometimes you don't want to buy a whole damn cake, right?
Right, yeah.
So
I love it. Pivot. Adrienne pivots. Curve conscious pivots.
Yeah.
Cheesecake's an awesome pivot.
Yes.
Not gonna lie. I love it. I'm so excited for you and your business, and I'm excited. It sounds like you're gonna have a lot more successful years where you can thrive and grow year after year. And this year is just a big effing challenge for all of us. But I'm glad you guys were able to make it through it, and that you got to clothe the queen. That's like badass. I hope you get a picture one day. That'll be amazing.
I know. I hope. Yeah, maybe she'll come. Maybe that young lady will come back, or of course, I can only fantasize about Queen Latifah stepping foot in there.
I know, right?
I will say the week before that, I did have sort of a celebrity, a political celebrity, Cory Booker, come into my shop, and there was a small business meeting with him up near where my business is with a few other business owners on the corridor that I'm on. And we met with him and some other local representatives. And, we were able to share our stories about, dealing with running a business during COVID. And he pledged to buy a gift card because, he's like, I had met him virtually a few months before that when I did an event online, and he had said, when are you going to start selling big and tall at Curb Conscious? So I was able to bring that back up about, hopefully I can make it through the pandemic so that I can, be able to do big and tall men. And he was like, I was going to mention that. So he was like, how can I help now? And I said, well, listen, you can buy a gift for someone. You can buy a gift card and gift it to someone in need. And so that's what he did. He came on down to the shop. He bought a gift card. Yeah, so I'll be giving that away probably like closer to Small Business Saturday and Giving Tuesday and all that. So I look forward to being able to share that with someone else.
How tall is he in real life?
He is probably like 6'3"-ish, 6'2",
He's really tall.
He's really tall, yeah.
Yeah, men have just as much difficulty buying clothes as women of size. It's tough out there. It's, if you know anything about it at all, there's one store in like a city of 2 million people, and it's almost all online. And then usually it has like some big dog on the shirt or a shark or some kind of sports thing. Like, it's rough out there for big and tall men, and we think it's bad. For us, it's they got a little bit worse. I feel for them, but they get left out a lot out of fat liberation and body acceptance too. And I think that's one thing I need to personally work on that more to make sure that I'm more inclusive, because they really get it. They get shafted basically. In that sense. But thank you so much, Adrienne. It was so fun to finally talk to you in person. I know we see each other in all kinds of groups and stuff and on Facebook, but it's lovely to talk to you in person. I'm really excited for your business and always happy to help with anything that you need signal boosted or whatever. I'm cheering for your success for sure.
Thank you. And same to you as well.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good one.
You too, Adrienne. If you like this stuff, you like my my videos. Make sure you subscribe, like, share. We love all that love. Yeah. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, my mouse is not working. Where I can't do this. I got to end it. Okay, there we go. I'll cut.